And welcome to this week's Youth Enquiry Service Podcast episode. I'm Blake, and today we are joined by Carla McKay from Youth Work Dumfries and Galloway and Oasis Youth Centre. She is a youth development worker in Nithsdale. Welcome to our podcast, Carla. We are happy to have you here with us. To get us started, here's an icebreaker question for you. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
I could live anywhere in the world. It would have to be Western Australia. What about you?
Probably like somewhere in Spain or like Portugal, so it's nice and hot and it's like really nice over there.
Yeah.
What inspired you to become a youth worker?
So I would probably say when I was about 14, I had a youth worker who was really supportive. My dad's in the army. So my dad was deployed out with the UK, and she was really supportive, always making sure that we were okay. And she encouraged me to actually start to volunteer with the younger ones. And with that, I started to lead on activities. I got a bit more responsibility. I would do the talk shop. And then you start to bond with young people, and you would, I don't know, just give you like a different atmosphere. And through that, it was just something that I continued to do. But I've had youth work through my life at all different stages. So yeah, it was definitely that youth worker that encouraged me to volunteer and gain new experiences. And it's something that I then wanted to give back later on in life.
Have you always worked with young people?
Kind of, yeah. So like I said, when I was younger, I kind of did a lot of stuff without realising that I was volunteering. When I was in school, you know, when you go into like the primary schools and you maybe help them with them reading and stuff. And then when I was 14, I was volunteering at the youth centre or the community centre and continue to do that. The only time that I haven't done that is when I was away travelling for 2.5 years after I graduated.
Nice. Yeah. And what is your journey through youth work?
Yeah, so this one's a really long-winded one. So when I was at school, like I said, I did a bit of volunteering there. I was the oldest pad brat is what we call them. So it's like when your dad's in the armed forces. And I was seen as in 6th year, we were the first time we'd moved from Cyprus down to Pennycook, and the school had never had any army brats in there. The parents were getting deployed abroad, and the school relied on me quite a lot. So in my 5th and 6th year, I was supporting like the S1s and S2s with one-to-ones. I was helping them write blues to their parents abroad. I was like helping staff on if a young person was like quite emotional, they would bring me in so that I could give them a hug, make sure they were all right. So that was kind of like the start of it. And then when I was in 6th year, I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Didn't know community education was a thing. And my teachers were like, oh, you should go into cognitive science. You're really good at computing and you like psychology. Go do that. So I was like, all right, okay. Yeah. Teachers know best. Parents know best. And 3 weeks in, I was like, nah, don't like it. So I stayed the year, had fun. And then I did some stuff working back with young people where I was like a ski rep. So I would take like schools away abroad to go skiing and stuff. And then took a year out, went back, because I went back to my school, spoke to a guidance teacher, and she was like, have you heard of community education? So I applied through there, and throughout my degree, I did experiences with a council, a homeless charity, and Army Welfare Service. So I got to go on a placement in Cyprus and work with young people out in Cyprus for 6 months, which was really cool. And then after my degree, I went, I don't want to be an adult. So I was like, I'm not doing it. So me and my husband were like, right, we're going to go traveling. So we went and travelled for 2.5 years, but we came back during COVID. So I was working on a call centre, and then a friend who works up in the 3rd sector up here had sent me this job in 2021. So I moved up here in 2021, and I've been with Youth Work Service since then. So a bit long-winded.
What does your current role involve?
Like, it's a bit of anything and everything. It's kind of, I do anything from managing staff. So we're about to have a modern apprentice. We've got youth activity workers, youth workers, issues workers. I also manage the caretaker for the Oasis Youth Centre and supporting young leaders, kind of like yourself. So any volunteers that we've got that want to support us in groups. I can plan sessions for groups, apply for funding, chair partner meetings with councils and with 3rd sector, and I can be then involved in meetings with 3rd sector and councils, developing sessions, training new staff, there's loads more that I just can't think of off the top of my brain, because it's all a lot. Like at the minute, we're planning the Amazing Summer Road shows, doing like the info stalls for Youth Beats. So there's a lot of different project works depending on the time of the year.
Yeah. How does social media influence young people?
Yeah. So I found this is an interesting question, because it can be positive and negative. Social media, like this is the perfect example of positive influence, because you are being able to inform young people and the community of adults what offers are available, or what opportunities are available for young people. The negative side will be your false information. So if you were like doing this podcast and nobody was checking it, you could be then providing false information. And if that's the case, that would be detrimental to young people involved. So I think there could be a lot of positive happening, but if there's negative, such as trends, if young people are following trends, it could be really harmful to them or their friends. But they might not realise it, because they're being like, oh, this is somebody that's an influencer, that must make it safe, but it might not be. So if we're not actually checking it and making sure it's not false news or fake news, then that would be a concern.
Yeah. For any young people out there who don't already know, what is Oasis Youth Centre and what does it offer to young people?
Oasis Youth Centre is a youth centre for young people 12 to 25. However, we do have a P67 group as well, which is like once or twice a week, depending on the time of year. And we also hold sessions, like we've got an open day coming up in June for families and the surrounding area communities. So it offers a brave space for young people to access, to broaden their horizons, aid in personal social development. They can gain different skills like team building, communication, cooking skills, even like STEM skills. So it would be like your science, tech, engineering and maths, just through different opportunities that we provide.
Yeah. Where is Oasis located?
Yeah, so hopefully I get this right, because I call it the wrong thing every time. So it's in Dumfries, and it is opposite the Lorburn Hall, and it is behind the police station. So it's in Newell Terrace in Dumfries.
Okay, thank you. What kind of groups does the Oasis Youth Centre offer?
Yep. So we have got loads of different groups, anything from targeted to universal. So what I mean by that is your targeted groups would be like Super Mondays, which is a group for young people with additional support needs and disabilities. We've got young parents groups, which is for young people under the age of 25 that are either expecting or have a baby or toddler, and they can come along and they meet staff, and we are able to support them with different things. It could be like budget, and it could be meeting people like from like other services that they might need support on. We've got Duke of Edinburgh, and we've got juniors, which I talked about. And then your universal would be more like your drop-ins. So young people are able to come into the group. They can speak to youth workers, have a game of pool. Last week, a few weeks ago, we had like colour runs, we've had water fights, we've had sumo suits and tacos, we had homemade pizza. So like loads of different opportunities for the young people to come and socialise. They can get, everything's free, so they get free food, free juice, free access to the resources. We've also got groups like darts, art. So the art group at the minute's got 2 projects. They are doing the Good Neighbours float. So they are creating, I'm not going to tell you the theme because we want to win this year. So they are working on that every week to create like the lorry to be like a really cool design. And if you do attend Youth Beats, for the viewers, there will be face stalls, I think is what they call them. So it's like the plaque, and then you can stick like your face to it, and it's got a design. Yeah. So they are making them as we speak as well over the next few weeks, and they'll be dotted up. So there's 2 projects that the art group's working on. We've got volunteering, so young people can access multiple different volunteering opportunities under the age of 17, where you come and meet with me, and then we do different things. And then there's obviously the adult volunteer route as well. And then we've got like the S1s. The really exciting part for Oasis this term, though, is that we've actually just recruited a youth music worker. So they will be dedicated to getting the recording studio and the rehearsal room up and running, so that young people can book for free the recording studio and rehearsal room. And that youth worker will then be able to help record different music, whether they're DJs, bands, solo artists, drummers, guitarists, all different kind. So that will be launching in the summer, if not before, as well, which will be really exciting.
Yeah, thank you. And as a final question, what has been your favourite memory so far in your time in youth work?
This was a hard one. I've been here, like I said, for 4.5 years now. There's been a lot of really positive things that have happened. But I think the one that it came down to was I got to take a group of young people to Taiwan and Hong Kong. They didn't pay a penny. They fundraised everything through the group work, through their individual selves. And it was incredible to see. But there was one young person in particular who, at the first part, like their journey was they didn't know anything about youth work. And then we got them involved in different groups. They were not for public speaking. They were not for doing a lot of things. But through their exposure to youth workers and the venues and all the different kind of opportunities that we were able to provide, whether it be like summer camps or different trips and accessing groups, by the end of the trip, they had to all present something in front of like external funders, family, friends, that sort of stuff. And that young person stood up clear as day and was like, I've just been on this amazing trip and this is what we've done. And to see that journey from didn't want to speak to anybody to public speaking and facing all their fears was just like, this is why we do it. It's the small wins, and it's just, yeah, it's just little wins all the time that you're just like, this is just incredible to see young people being able to just come into themselves. That's the best bit of the job.
Aye. Thanks for coming on to our podcast, Carla. Please remember to follow us on all our social media channels. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Follow us to keep up with more podcasts.